changes to our product without realizing that I'm doing product management. People just to be creating matches, but we want people to go beyond matches to have a real chat, to have a real connection. Dating is not only about data, it's also about emotions.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ignition, which is all about you and AI. This is your host Varun Pandey, and here we talk about how AI is going to build our future with the people who are actually building it. And today's guest is someone very special who's actually working in a very interesting industry. Welcome Chetan Lohia, an IIT Delhi alumni who's working in product since 11 years and now leading data products team at Bumble, a leader in dating industry. Today, we're going to talk about how to build products which actually connects partners, not just matches them. Before we hop on, I just request you to please like, subscribe, and comment what would you like to see next and how to make our content better. Thanks a lot, Chetan, for taking out your time between the sprints and juggling between them. Appreciate that a lot. How are you
Yes.
feeling? Welcome to Ignition.
Thank you so much, Varun, for giving me this opportunity to speak on your podcast. Looking forward to share my experiences and insights with you all, and hopefully it can benefit the people who will listen to it.
Your journey is very interesting. Started out as an IIT grad and now leading product at one of the most human-centered tech, which is dating. So let us know how does your journey go through and how did you end up in product?
Yeah, so I did not start as a product, obviously. After graduation, I was into finance and then into management consulting, and then I
Okay.
joined a tech company in
Okay.
Bangalore called Vizuri, where I started as as someone who was looking at ad operations. So it was an advertising tech company, and I was looking at some of my e-commerce customers in China, looking to maximize their returns on ad spends and then trying to get them more sales through the ads. While I was doing that, my job was more to look at data and optimize the numbers. I also started trying to understand how the product works,
Hmm.
why why things were not working the way, because I struggled. I ran a lot of optimization strategies, but I could not really improve the performance, right?
Hmm.
So I felt there is something deeper I need to look at, and that's where I started going deeper into our product and trying to understand
Hmm.
what is happening behind the scenes. Why are these strategies not working?
Hmm.
Right. So that was what I tried to understand. I was
Hmm.
not looking at only how I can improve those metrics, but I just
Hmm.
wanted to understand how the system works, so that is there a system-wide change which we need, not
Hmm.
only looking at analytics and optimizing the strategies.
Hmm.
And one thing led to another, and I started talking to engineers, making some
Okay.
tweaks in the product, and
Okay.
I didn't know I was doing product management because
Yeah,
back
that's the
then,
thing with most of
yeah,
them.
yeah, in 2012, it was not that prevalent in
Okay.
India. So even our company didn't have PMs. It had just one tech PM.
Hmm.
So I started looking into it. I started working with engineering and then started making changes to our product without realizing that I'm doing
Hmm.
product management. And
Hmm.
then one day the company said, "Yeah, we are looking to build a product management team, and you have been working very closely with the product, giving a lot of feedback. So we'd want you to take that role so that you influence the product across the platform, not only for your geography." And that's how I got into product management.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I'll say you are one of the most early folks who came into the product, right? And you have seen the role actually develop to such a formal role right now, and one of the
Yeah.
most chased role right now, especially for the ones who are techies and the MBAs, right? So I
Correct,
think I
correct.
believe. What do you feel about the role in general right now? Is it how it shaped out to be? You would have thought like 10 years back, since you're saying that you've been working in the role for 20 since 2012.
Yeah. So, uh, as I said, in the beginning, I didn't have any idea what the role is.
Hmm.
I was asked to become a product manager, and they were building a product team. So I I was working with the product. I liked working with the systems, with the
Mm,
users. So I thought, yeah, I'll take it. But there wasn't a defined product management
mm,
role as it is
mm,
today, right?
mm,
And then we didn't have any senior product person who had learned the craft or who had come from the valley where product management was more popular. We were
mm,
more left to learn ourselves what product management is, what how do we do product management. So we started reading a lot of literature, looking at
mm,
some videos, and started learning. So we it was really execution focused because we were very early and we were
right,
looking to deliver on our roadmaps, doing sprints, working with the core development team. And then
right.
slowly, as I moved into my product management journey, we
Mm,
started looking at other aspects of it, like strategy, stakeholder management,
mm,
customer interviews,
mm.
UI, UX, right? So all those things you started building into your skill set as you moved on. But on day one, it was not very different from what I was doing, right? So
Yeah. And so today you're leading product in such a dynamic industry since human behavior is so unpredictable, right? Which is dating. So as a product leader, leading the product, strategizing, making roadmaps, how do you fish out the signal from the noise while devising AI features in general for the product, or let's say strategizing for the product as well?
yeah, so from to really look at real signals and what is noise and what is real signal, there are a few things which you really need to understand, right?
Mm,
Uh, First, you need to make sure that you have good understanding of the matrix, right? You're
mhm,
not looking at matrix which are just noisy matrix. You're looking at
mm,
matrix which have been stable for a long term, and
mhm,
those matrix giving you signals, then those signals could be more trusted. If there is some matrix which is really noisy, you really
mm,
can't trust, right?
mm,
Then you don't always look on one metric, because if one metric is behaving differently, then there might be some network effects. There might be some
mm,
adjacent matrix which also should be giving you the same signal,
mm,
right? So
mm,
you start looking at those metrics as well before forming the hypothesis.
mm,
Second, you experiment. The best way to figure out a real signal versus a
mm,
noise is you experiment. If you
mm,
experiment, you'll know whether it's a real signal or it's a noise, right?
mm,
And third, you really go deeper into your user interviews, user feedback, right?
mm,
Because if it is something which is really coming from a lot of users, you know that there is a real pain point to be
mm,
solved for, right?
mm,
Rather than one person just saying it, and it may not be reflecting in everyone else's comments, right? Maybe no one has noticed this. If one person has said and you really feel that this is something which needs to be improved, you need to take that problem statement back to the users and discuss, hey, do you think this
mm,
could be a problem, or this is something which you faced as a problem, but maybe you're not able to recall when we interviewed with you. So go back to the user with that new finding, and then do user research, look at the metrics around that pain point, and then make sure that you are filtering out what is a noise versus what is a real signal.
Because I still remember how Bumble came into the picture was the real differentiator that it made from Tinder was that it was safer for women, right? So that's how it was actually came in the picture because women felt more safe there, and the initiation was in the hands of the women with regards to conversation. So I guess such user insights while developing a feature are a real big deal.
Correct.
Yes. So talking about AI, AI can scale experiences, but dating is all about emotions, right? And while we talk also about data and using data, how do you strike the balance while using data for such a product?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. See, data for products like us obviously is very useful because we have a lot of data, right?
Mm,
And it's not a startup where we lack data, right? We are a very well adopted product. There are so many users, there are so many signals we capture. So there is a lot of data to look at,
right.
and it does give you good picture, right?
Yes.
When because you don't have too many anomalies when the data is such at such a large scale, you can really
Mm,
look at trends and then trust the trends, trust the data, right?
Right.
But but you also cannot only look at data as you rightly said, dating is not only about data, it's also about emotion. So we need to
Mm,
make sure that we are also continuously taking qualitative feedback from our users and talking to our
mm,
users. So Bumble does a great job of talking to people who have found a relationship and what
mm,
worked for them. We publish success stories, love stories of people, and we
mm,
really reach out to them and try to understand what really worked for them in our product, right? And then influence our strategies, influence our recommendations
mm,
based on those feedbacks as well, rather than
mm,
only data, right?
mm,
Because if you do only data, so as a company, our mission is we want to find uh, good connections, right? But
mm,
if we just look at data and we start optimizing for engagement, we'll just optimize for matches or maybe swiping, right? But that's
mm,
not the goal of our company. We don't want people just to be creating matches, but we
mm,
want people to go beyond matches to have a
mm,
real chat, to have a real
mm,
connection, at least give an opportunity to each other to connect and understand each other and see if there
mm.
is a relationship budding out there, right?
Right.
So that is where the focus is. You need to get that human in the loop kind of a thing,
Mm,
not only just based on data. You can't take decisions. The data
mm,
should guide you,
mm,
but ultimately empathy and human in the loop should also be the factors when you are making
mm.
decisions.
So recently, in our generation, Bumble as a word has been sometimes on the social media used as a sort of shallow connotations to Bumble generation and all that stuff, right? Where the love is very, transactional sometimes. Is there something that you as a, someone who's leading the product doing with regards to positioning the product better in the minds of the user? Although a large part of it might come under marketing, but still, I
Yeah,
guess you
yeah.
might have had conversations since you are leading the product with their teams and all that. So is there anything particularly you are doing in general?
Uh, within the product, as I said, we try to develop our strategies more towards meaningful relationships, meaningful connections.
Right,
That's what we are trying to do,
right.
right? And the positioning and all is obviously more handled by the marketing side,
Yeah.
right? But within the product, what we try and do is how can we create more meaningful connections for people rather than having making this a app where people can uh, fool each other or yeah.
Mm, okay. Sir, beyond the experience of 20 years which you hold, the most interesting part for me as junior product manager, aspiring product managers, is the mental models you hold. What goes on in the inside, inside the mind of an IITian who's leading the product right now. So, what are the mental models you adhere to usually while you are devising product strategies, all its features?
Yeah, so I think the most important whether you're designing a product for end consumer or a B2B or an
Right.
internal, the most important thing is your customers, your users,
Mm,
right? You
mm,
need to start from there, right? Don't build for users. Earlier, we were building for users, but now you need
mm,
to start build with the users, right? And then there is a difference, right? Building for the user means you go to the user before building the product and you try to understand their problem statements, and then you come back within the team and build a solution and then go back and release that solution, and then you take the feedback from the user, how's the
mm,
solution, right? So that
mm,
that's the old way of doing things where you
right.
build for the user, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's fine, but now building with the user is something which is evolving, where you really don't do these things as an afterthought. You take the problem statements to the user. As I earlier said, you
Okay.
go to the user with the problem statement and say, hey, if I have to solve this, what do you
Mm,
think would be the best way to solve this, right? You
mm-hmm.
don't only brainstorm the solution
Mm-hmm.
within your internal teams, because they
Mm-hmm.
may not be the real users. You really try to brainstorm the solutions with the end users as well, right? And you iteratively test
Okay.
with them before even going ahead and building with the solutions. You probably show them two, three ways in which you can solve this and then try and take the feedback. So you you take feedback continuously rather than at the beginning and then at the end, right? So
Mm.
that's the way I would say. So just focus on the jobs to be done. Take that MVP concept where you are building very iteratively, you're doing the discovery with the user, and then again, not only in the problem phase but also in the solution phase, you're doing the discovery with the users.
And do these models get altered if we talk about having or building AI experiences for the users, or they stay the same?
I think they stay the same, right? Ultimately, AI is an enabler, right?
Mm.
AI is one of the breakthrough technologies which has enabled a lot of new ideas in which you can actually solve the problem, right?
Mm.
It's no different. So with AI, the additional thing which comes with is you need to use AI responsibly, right? You need to make sure
Mm.
that while trying to use AI, you are making sure that user empathy is there, is baked into your solution discovery, right? Because you don't want
Mm.
to overuse AI and lose that human connection,
Right,
or
right.
you don't want to overuse AI and
Mm.
make people feel exposed, right? That
Mm.
their data is being exposed, or
Mm.
they feel vulnerable, right? So you don't want to use AI in those ways. You want to use AI very responsibly, and that is why
Mm.
it is also very important to build with the user, because while you are looking at solutions, you try to
Mm.
maximize the potential of a technology. But if you are
Mm.
building with the user, you get that real time check. You
Mm.
get those empathetic inputs that, okay,
Right.
no, this might be crossing the line. So let's
Mm.
look at it in a
Mm.
different way.
Mm. I mean, like, what I can get from your conversation is this is very touchy and very sensitive sector, or let's say, industry to build product in. Like a little bit
Correct.
of here and there, and the users would get very upset. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So looking back at your experiences, I believe every product manager has some sort of instances or lessons, hard lessons, which they learn through experimentation, or let's say introspection, which they still stick by while devising product or strategizing throughout their career. So if you can tell any particular event in your life or any hard lesson you learned, especially with regards to personalization of the product, if you can share with us.
I'll actually share an example from my early days where I learned the things in the hard way, right? So as I
Mm.
said, I was working at Missouri, and I was trying to optimize the return on ad spend for my e-commerce
Okay.
clients in China, right?
Okay.
And we were showing very personalized ads. So people who would visit my customers' websites, once they drop off, will look at the products they have seen. I know it has become a general commodity nowadays, but back in those times, it was
Mm.
really very advanced way of showing ads. We really looked at the user data, which products they have looked at,
Mm.
and then we would try to show them similar products or the same products or the complementary products, so that they get interested and they would
Mm.
come back to our customer's website and actually convert,
Mm.
right? Now, we thought we were personalizing really good because we were showing the more relevant product, and then these strategies were kind of working well in our other geographies. Like India, it was working well. Southeast Asia, it was working well. Latin America, it was working well. But when I started implementing the similar strategies in China, we didn't see any improvement, and that
Mm.
that made me think about personalization at a deeper level. I said, okay, probably I cannot restrict personalization only at what products they have seen, right? I need
Mm.
to go deeper. And that's
Mm.
when I started looking at maybe there are different categories of customers who behave in a
Mm.
different way. So some of my customers were very they were of the websites in China which sell very cheap products, and they were price sensitive customers, right? So they wanted
Mm.
more discounts, and that's what attracted them, right? So I understood that segment, and I said,
Mm.
okay, these are people who want more discounted products. So rather
Mm.
than showing them same products or similar products,
Right.
probably if I show similar category discounted products in the banner,
Mm,
which they were probably unable to discover on when they were on the website. They could discover through my ads, and they might be
mm,
more interested because they are more price sensitive, right?
mm,
Similarly, uh, I started differentiating between people who has dropped off recently versus people who have dropped off 10 days back. Earlier, we were
mm,
treating them same, right? But person
mm,
who has just dropped off from a website
mm,
has that recall, has that fresh recall, right? If I can catch that person faster,
mm,
maybe it will help recall that person to the website versus that person who has dropped off from a shopping cart 10 days back is
mm,
maybe anyways not interested. And my strategy was treating both these segments of users equally, and we were kind
mm,
of paying the same amount for showing ads for these users. And I said, okay, no, this needs a differentiation. There needs to
mm,
be a personalization. We need to be more aggressive for users who have recently dropped off versus people
mm,
who have not dropped off. Now again, these all sound very uh, general knowledge today, but at
mm.
that time, these were not
Right,
general
true.
knowledge, right? So we had to really look into the data.
Right.
We
Because you
created a
guys were
lot of
figuring out since
micro
it's a new
segments.
field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very new. Retargeting at that time was very new. We were just
Mm,
figuring out. We were looking at a lot of such micro segments, right? Like
mm,
repeat buyers, who are
mm,
serial clickers, who are recent drop-offs, right? So we're
mm,
looking at the behaviors, and now if I have to
mm,
go back and do more personalization, I
mm,
think it's a time where we have similar users. We could do
mm,
AI. We could do some kind of a modeling around, okay, the ability to convert, ability to
mm,
purchase, ability to. So
mm.
now we could do add all those layers and do more personalization based on some of those AI driven insights, right?
Similar situation we can face right now in devising AI feature in the sense people are figuring out what will work and what will not. What will people like, what's noise and what's signal,
Correct.
what actually matters, and especially when it comes to the frameworks part, right? I guess you have since you have been in this role since early days, you were one of the few people who actually were there when people were developing frameworks, right? Product framework,
Yeah.
which we have in hand right now, which we study in
Correct.
universities.
Yeah.
That's the most interesting part. And so one beautiful thing which you mentioned right now was the difference in culture that actually leads to developing subjective or objective experiences in the product, right? So
Correct.
I guess are there any challenges which you face right now in the dating sector because every culture, the relationship or the dating concept changes? I mean, like, how does you, as someone who leads the product, takes care of it while bringing in a new feature?
Yeah. I mean, it comes with also diversity in the team, right? So I
Okay,
think
okay,
if you look at Bumble, we
okay,
have a very diverse team, right? People
okay.
from so many cultures, so many
Hmm.
countries are there. So when things are
Hmm.
being discussed internally, it
Hmm.
naturally feeds into those discussions that, okay, what cultural angle we could bring in, right? What will work in
Hmm.
India
Hmm.
versus what will work in
Hmm.
Southeast Asia versus what will work in Western world, right? So those differentiation comes in, and there are times where we decide to launch a feature only in Western world, or we decide to launch a feature only in India. That is you need to bring in those geography level customizations in a global product if it's your primary market. If it's a market where you're not focusing, then you can obviously keep the product generalized. But if it's a
Hmm.
market where you are focusing, you are investing, then you need to bring in those level of customizations. As I explained in my previous example as well, that for China we needed to tweak the product because it wasn't
Hmm.
working in the way it was working in other geographies for us. So we had to tweak the product a little bit for growth in China because we wanted to win in China. We wanted to grow in China. We wanted it to become one of our major revenue geographies.
Hmm. So one of the most killer feature which I'm also a sort of fan of and which also lets me to pay for it quite frequently is the compliment feature. I must compliment the team on that. It is quite a feature. And the second one, which is a primary feature will build trust, is the Spotify connection, which I believe the something which really connects to people is the music part. Because if that's sorted, a lot of things get sorted with regards to conversation and also the vibe, right? So
Yeah,
that,
yeah. I think this get a lot of love from our users as well.
yeah, yeah. So I'm pretty sure you were there while this feature was being developed, right? The complement.
No, no, no. These were before my time actually. Yeah, at Bumble.
All right, all right. So, sir, going on to the question, there are a lot of aspiring product managers and aspiring AI builders who watch our podcast. So, someone who's building for the next decade, what would your advice be? Any three pieces of advice be for the ones who are actually going to enter or going to build for the next decade with regards to AI products
I
in general?
think,
Hmm.
yeah, I think in general, see, I don't think it has changed much,
Hmm.
right? I still believe that as a PM, we need to get our hands dirty. We need to understand the product, right?
Hmm.
So get your hands dirty, explore AI. It has become so easy with all those self-serve capabilities which AI brings in. You can ask ChatGPT how to use a particular tool, and you can
Hmm.
start using that tool. There's vibe coding and everything which is going on out there, right? So get your
Hmm.
hands dirty, try to understand, play around with the tools and understand its capabilities and limitations, right? You need not learn coding, but you at
Hmm.
least can understand the limitations and capabilities of the tools out there, right?
Right.
What is coming in the market, because the space is evolving fast and you really
Hmm.
need to be on top of it, right? So get your hands dirty, get there. Talk to your customers. I think that never goes away. I mean, in product management, if you have to build, you have to talk to your customers. And as I said, change the mindset from building for customers to building
Hmm.
with customers, right? So that is
Hmm.
very key now, going ahead. You need to make sure that you are building with your customers. You're always talking to your customers, right? And yeah, respect emotion. I think
Okay.
we all know that products which have been really successful is
Hmm.
because they have not only optimized on data, but they have also optimized on empathy. They have also optimized on emotion. They have really made sure that they sit emotionally with their consumers, not only
Hmm.
just delivering based on data, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, so those are the things I would uh, I would say that you need to take care of, right?
Hmm.
And yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. So one last question, which I'll end up with. Although thanks a lot for your crisp answers, and they were very detailed. Yet, is so I guess the company you work in is a leader in its own sector, right? But sometimes there's certain blind spots or certain spaces which remain due to which are capitalized by someone who's entering that market, right? So the point is, what do you feel looking back in retrospect that led to another competitor which is doing fairly well in your sector? Although I feel Bumble does a very good job in actually customizing the experience when it comes to filters and advanced filters. But do you feel was there any particular thing which the other catered to and is there as one of the competitors today in your industry?
See, I think the market is too big for a winner takes
Hmm.
all, right? So
Hmm.
there will always be players, and there will always be people who won't have good experience with the product, right? And
Hmm.
then they would try something else, and maybe something will click on the other product, right?
Hmm.
I don't think there's a lot of product-wide differentiation
Okay.
among the leaders in the dating industry. There are subtle one or two differences.
Hmm.
Some people like X better, some people like Y better, but I
Hmm.
don't think there is a huge difference in any of the products in the industry, right? So yeah, it's not a winner takes all market, and
Hmm.
if you look at it, actually it's very consolidated in dating industry. If you
Hmm.
look at the bigger players,
Hmm.
uh, there are you could name it, right? But look at other industries, there might be
Hmm.
so many other players, right? So it's not still not a very crowded industry.
Hmm.
There are many small players, but if you look
Hmm.
at the scale we are talking about, there aren't many, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, so I feel it's something where competition will always come up. If they
Hmm.
have the potential, they have the capacity to grow, I think, yeah, it will always come up.
And I believe, sir, Bumble has done a really good job when it comes to monetization, at least from our side, in the sense it does not hurt the pocket a lot to subscribe to a lot of features, especially when it comes to monthly. At least I can talk about in India, and that is something which actually helps us avail that thing in general. So I can say that, and I should really compliment the product team out there for the same.
Actually, the
Uh,
pricing team, we have a very strong pricing team which really tries
yeah,
to personalize the pricing as well.
yeah.
So there is a pricing product team which makes sure that we personalize it right for our users, and they feel
Because I feel that is lacking
that
on the
yeah,
other competitors,
yeah.
to be very genuine. That pretty much, sir, sums up my questions with you. Although I would have loved to have a longer session, a much more detailed session, but respecting your time. Thanks a lot for your responses and the detailed ones. It will help our viewers a lot and also the next gen AI builders. Thank you, sir.